part of it in some shape or form. So SketchUp is basically a very simplified 3D modeling tool. In fact, we have 30 million users globally. Right? It's very easy to learn, 1 or 2 hours you can pick it up. It's very accessible, easy to deploy, not too complicated. You don't need super advanced graphics. It is really very good for visualization. Right? A lot of the use cases involve using SketchUp to communicate as a visual tool. So I just want to share, let's get it on my slides. I just wanted to share some use cases in using SketchUp itself. So I just wanted to show you an example of the point cloud project. I think you can see myself. So this is SketchUp 2023. So in SketchUp, you can natively bring in satellite imagery, right? It's a bit like searching on Google Maps, right, to the particular location, and then you can import. So this is just a location, I think, in somewhere in the US, right, of a bridge, right? And then it not only, and this feature is actually called add location, so there's a toolbar here called add location, and you also can bring in the topology. So if I just show you the hidden geometry, you can see the, some of the animations. So a couple of use cases that you can use SketchUp for. Of course, you can bring in. The top number one is bringing in data. Right? So this is really an example of an infrastructure project, a scan, right, of a bridge. And one of the number one, I won't say number one, but one of the very useful use cases is data collection for safety. Right? Because if you look at engineering drawings today, a lot of the times you don't draw the utilities, right? In a 2D drawing, you don't see the physical utility, complementary things that are not in the drawing, right? So then point clouds become a very good kind of tool to actually do those safety checks, for example, right? So for instance, you have this point cloud here, and then what I'm going to do is I can actually make use of some of these tools. So there is an extension in SketchUp called Scan Essentials. Right? So Ben, I think, showed you a very good product, a Trimble product called the TBC, which stands for Trimble Business Center. That really allows you to kind of use AI to identify different point assets as well as to do model cleanup. Right? So with that, you can actually bring that point cloud into SketchUp. Right? So this is basically all there is to it for Scan Essentials. We have a toolbar here, and it really is using some of the drawing tools in here to actually model, right? So one of the things I wanted to show you was like I can always straddle between the point cloud pick and the SketchUp pick, and that's really the trick to model in 3D from point cloud. So over here, I'm just going to draw a simple line, right, just to show you. Of course, I set out a shortcut key, so you see every time I press my shortcut key, it toggles between the point cloud pick and the SketchUp pick. Right? So I'm just going to draw a construction line from here to here, for example. Right? And then I'm just going to use this. Right, you can see like you can use how easy it is to kind of do these checks within SketchUp as well. Right? And that's one use case. Of course, other use cases will include like using the point cloud, of course, to model the 3D, in this case, which is the bridge, right? If I hide the point cloud, you can see these are all modeled from the point cloud using the native drawing tools. So a lot of it is really creating, I guess, a digital archive for assets that do not have much documentation, right? And I'll show you some examples later on from some of our customers. And also, of course, besides creating 3D models, we also see some use cases where people do feasibility studies, right? So imagine you are sending some equipment across, and it's really bringing the field data back to the office, right? Before you even execute this operation, you want to kind of simulate this feasibility study and whether, for example, the crane would, there will be clashes, right? So these are all very simple things that you can do with SketchUp. Right? Another use case would be to check for existing conditions. So for example, here, maybe you have a new project where you are building a new bridge or things like that, and you could very easily create that in SketchUp on top of point cloud over here. Right? And you can look at it, sometimes you can do different studies, right? You can do like, for example, you're doing like, I don't know, a line of site study or things like that. And this. I wanted to bring up the 3D model for the toolbars. So anyway, I hope, so these are basically some of the use cases that I've talked about. So I talked about, first of all, data collection for safety. I talked about asset creation, which is really creating a 3D model. I've also talked a bit of the spatial visibility, that means doing visibility checks. And I've also shown you the before and after. Right? And I just wanted to show you a couple of slides where we're making some enhancements to the future version of SketchUp. I imported the setup imagery. In the latest version, we will kind of improve upon that to allow more control over the density of the meshes that you create from that location. We are also including this functionality where if you have a terrain point cloud, you can very quickly create a mesh from that, automatic mesh from that. So this is also part of our beta. It's going to be released. Just to kick this off by showing you user case study. A couple of weeks back, I went to Japan visiting one of our customers, and it's really very interesting and encouraging to see how they've been using some of Trimble technology. So this guy, he owns a company called Yoshisho. He goes around scanning traditional Japanese architecture, temples actually, cultural artifacts. And he used to do a lot of the 3D, so he has this mission where he goes around to do a digital archival. Temples and cultural artifacts in Japan is like hundreds of years old. They may not have documentation or drawings, right? So sometimes he's commissioned to do some works, maybe to restore a certain beam or arc or to rebuild the structure, things like that. And he used to do it using sketches, hand sketches. He progressed to using SketchUp to do some of these modeling, and also to use it as a tool to have a quick discussion with his customers. So over here, you can see it's a quick video of, I think it's Benjamin, I think it's an X12. X12, and he's trying to make a scan of this temple called the Goshoji temple. So this is located in Fukui, prefecture of Japan. And you can see it's very high fidelity, right? And of course, I think he does a number of scans and he overlays them together. But what is really very powerful about this is that he can take this data from the field back to his office and slice it up. Right? So when he slices it up, he's able to create all these elevation views. I'll show you some examples later on, and make them into drawings. Right? Because it's not always necessary to create a 3D model. So you can see some part of this workflow. I won't spend too much time on this, but basically he's kind of using Trimble RealWorks, importing a point cloud into Trimble RealWorks, doing a slice, right? And there's a send to SketchUp button from RealWorks, right? So this is after he import the kind of a sectional view into SketchUp, and then he just rely on this and he start sketching, right? The columns in SketchUp. So the push-pull is just drawing, extracting, and then making copies of this. And this is really the foundation of how people start modeling with SketchUp. It's very easy, right? It's direct modeling. There's no parametric relationship between the first beam and the second beam and the third beam, right? So we'd like to just move along and let the video kind of finish off, just so you get a kind of a view of the workflow of how he kind of modeled from point cloud to 3D model, right? And really, I just want to show the last example where Hachioji Shrine. Right? So you can see here it's a very dilapidated building in a very remote place, right? We can find by chopper, but what he really wanted to do was he was conditioned to kind of rebuild this outer structure. But what this outer structure was really trying to protect was the inner shrine. right? You can't really see, it's a bit hidden, right? And what he did, he went to a Trimble, first of all, he did a scan, right? So like I said, after he did a scan, he's able to do all these section parts, right? And he does not even do the 3D model. He just used the point cloud, slice it up, and then put this into SketchUp there, which is the 2D drawing. And you can see like, then you can start putting dimensions, right? And this became his foundation for redesigning the new structure. And you can see why he did this, because some of the beams are actually tilted that after so many years of wear and tear, he actually kind of, the beams are tilted, right? And he also did this actually looking up at the ceiling. You know, Japanese architecture, there's a lot of these curved beams. It's really very difficult to draw from scratch. And you can see that the final design, what he did. If I zoom in, you can see like, this is a point cloud. He didn't do anything because it is something that is preserved. What he was commissioned to do was to build the outer structure, which he did. Right? I thought this was really very interesting. So I just want to cap this off by showing a video of him. In fact, his son, who is in, I think in elementary school, primary 4 by Singapore standards, using the Trimble 7 scanners. There's no sound, it's okay. It's so easy to use that even a primary school student can do the scans with the accuracy of an expert like Benjamin. Right? And because it's so portable, and just carry it around, it's amazing, right? What they teach the kids these days. Then, this is the final output. So I hope to use our time today. I'm very happy to do this sharing with you. If you have any questions, visit us at the booth. I'll be happy to speak more with you. Thank you.